Okay, picture this. It's Monday morning, downtown Fort Worth, Texas. You're in the main lobby of Hellberg International. Big company, lots of activity.
Right, the usual corporate buzz.
Exactly. Shoes clicking on marble, phones ringing quietly, people grabbing coffee, focused on the week ahead. And sort of blending into the background, there's the cleaning crew.
Almost invisible sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not like people are mean, it's just habit.
Right.
They're just part of the scenery, like elevator music you don't really notice. So Jonathan Kellerman, he's the CEO. He's doing his usual walk from the garage to his office.
Yeah.
Probably thinking about meetings, global strategy, that kind of thing.
Deep in thought.
Totally. But then he just stops dead. He hears this voice. It's speaking Mandarin, but like incredibly fluent, sharp, perfect.
Wow. Okay, unexpected.
Completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Not the kind of sound you normally hear cutting through the lobby noise.
Right.
So, okay, let's really get into this. What actually happens when a CEO's whole routine, his whole idea of who's who and what's what, gets completely shaken up by a sound that forces him to look past the uniform?
Yeah.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into this amazing story. It really challenges all those assumptions we make about where talent comes from, who has it, and maybe how much brilliance we walk past every single day.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're digging into this one really powerful story from a YouTube transcript.
Yeah.
We want to pull out what it tells us about talent, yes, but also about perception, how we see people. And the potential hidden inside all of us, and often right inside our own company.
Kind of potential, yeah.
We're looking at not just what happened, but why it hits so hard, why it matters to you listening right now, and what lessons we can actually take away from it. It's more than just a nice story. It's got real insights into how people and organizations work.
Okay, so back to that moment in the lobby. Kellerman hears this perfect Mandarin. His first thought, it must be one of the international sales reps. Maybe someone in early for a call back to Asia. Makes sense, right?
Logical assumption.
But then he really looks, and he sees her. She's wearing the standard burgundy janitor's uniform. Practical. Her hair's pulled back in short twists. Standing there, kind of quiet, by the lobby directory.
Oh, wow. Not what he expected at all.
Not even close. He said the shock was. It was real. She's talking to this older guy, pointing him towards the elevators, voice calm, clear.
In Mandarin.
In flawless Mandarin. Kellerman steps a bit closer and she finishes the conversation politely. No. Then, literally, without missing a beat, she turns to a delivery guy.
Okay.
And switches straight into perfect Spanish, asking about a package for Senor Ramirez.
Disculpe, ¿tiene el paquete para el señor Ramirez?
Just like that.
Just like that. The delivery guy blinks, says gracias. Then she turns again to a vendor nearby who looks confused about some boxes. And tells him in perfect French where to take them. C'est la salle de conférence B.
Points him in the right direction, little smile.
Good grief. Mandarin, Spanish, French, back to back.
In like 60 seconds. This wasn't just translating words, it was effortless communication. Natural. She was navigating these different cultures right there in the lobby.
And that's incredible in itself, but what about Kellerman? What's going through his head?
Well, the source material says his jaw clenched. Not in anger, but something tighter, like a pinch of guilt.
Guilt. Okay, let's unpack that guilt. This is a CEO, right? Decades in global logistics.
Yeah, he knows international business.
He's hired translators, probably expensive ones. He's paid for cross-cultural training for his teams. He knows the value of language skills.
For sure.
And yet, here's this woman, maybe the most linguistically talented person he's met in years, right there in his building, scrubbing toilets a couple of floors below his own office. That's gotta sting.
Yeah, you can see why you feel that guilt.
It's more than just him feeling bad, though. It points to something bigger, doesn't it? This tendency we all have, societally speaking.
Making assumptions.
Exactly. We make snap judgments based on a uniform, a job title, where someone works in the building. It's like this unconscious bias that tells us talent should look a certain way, come from certain schools, be in certain roles.
Right. You expect the executives to have the fancy skills, not necessarily the cleaning crew.
And how often do we just walk past incredible potential because of that? Because we're not really looking, or we're looking, but with these filters on, it makes you wonder, seriously, what are we all missing every day?
It's a heavy question. And clearly, Kellerman's starting to grapple with it right then and there. He feels compelled to talk to her.
Yeah.
He actually approaches her, a bit hesitantly maybe. Excuse me. She turns, maybe a little surprised to be addressed by the CEO, but she's composed.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, was that Mandarin you were speaking? She says yes.
Okay.
Then he asks, and Spanish, French. She does not, calmly. And then she drops the bombshell.
Yeah.
What else?
She tells him she also speaks Portuguese, German, Arabic, Italian, and the Swahili.
Wait, what? How many is that?
That's 8. And then she adds, almost like it's nothing, oh, and I read Latin, but I don't really count that one.
Latin too. So 9 languages. No.
9 languages, fluent. Kellerman is just floored. The source says he just blinks, speechless for a second. He asks again,
Yeah.
you speak 9 languages?
Oh, 2.
And her reply is so simple. Yes, sir, no big deal. The source stresses this. No pride in her tone, no arrogance, just truth straight as a level beat.
Wow. Just stating facts.
And Kellerman's looking at this woman, this janitor, Denise Atwater, and he's thinking, she's like a walking United Nations.
What a contrast, the uniform and this incredible hidden skill.
Exactly. It completely messes with his whole framework, everything he thought he knew about where skills and talent reside.
So what does he do? He can't just walk away from that.
No way. He invites her up to his office, the 18th floor, executive suite.
Okay, big move. Huge move. And her reaction is really telling. The source says she had this look of hesitation, not fear exactly, just that built-in reflex people have when they're used to being ignored or underestimated.
Yeah. That hits hard, that sense of being invisible for so long.
Right. It's not just about going to the boss's office, it's about suddenly being seen after years of, well, not being seen for who she really is.
Decades, maybe.
Could be. And then they're in the elevator going up, the fancy executive elevator she probably only ever used late at night for cleaning. And she says kind of quietly, I've worked here for 13 years.
13 years, wow.
And then she adds, never thought I'd be invited up.
Oh, man. That just speaks volumes, doesn't it? The gap between her reality and her potential, and how little she expected that gap to ever be bridged.
It's heartbreaking, really. Shows how much talent might be locked away just because nobody thinks to look or ask.
It really does.
Yeah.
So they get to his office, this big glass-walled space, totally different from her usual environment.
Worlds apart. And Kellerman, he gets right to it. He asks her straight up, how does someone like you end up working here, cleaning floors?
Bold question.
Very bold. But you sense it's coming from genuine confusion, maybe even that guilt again. He needs to understand this disconnect.
And how does Denise respond?
Calmly, factually, no drama, no bitterness. She tells him she was born in Toledo, Ohio. Only child. Her parents, a pipe fitter and a nurse's aide, weren't highly educated themselves, but they pushed education like it was religion.
Okay. So learning was always important.
Hugely important. She got a full scholarship to Kent State, majored in linguistics.
Linguistics. Makes sense.
Totally. And she was even halfway through her master's degree. She was on a path, a very different path.
So she was heading towards an academic or professional career in languages.
Absolutely. It really sets the stage for understanding just how much life threw her off course. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because life isn't neat, it's messy.
Yeah, it rarely goes according to plan.
And Denise's story is such a powerful example of that. It forces you to think about what success really means and how easily we judge people who seem to be off track.
So what happened? What derailed her master's degree or academic path?
Life happened. Hard.
Yeah.
First, her mother got really sick. Denise had to drop out of her program, come home, take care of her.
Oh no.
Then, just 6 months later, her father died suddenly. A stroke. She just says everything fell apart after that. Devastating.
Completely. And on top of all that grief and upheaval, she had a baby. And she was on her own. No money, no partner who stuck around.
Wow. Just one thing after another.
Yeah, a total convergence of crises. It's a stark reminder that even the brightest people can get knocked sideways by things totally out of their control.
So faced with all that, what does she do?
She did what she had to do to survive. She took any job she could get. Grocery stores, nursing homes, temp agencies, whatever paid the bills, kept food on the table.
Just grinding.
Total grind. Eventually, a supervisor here at Hallberg offered her the night shift cleaning. And that was actually a huge relief.
Why the relief?
Because the night hours meant she could be there to pick up her daughter from school during the day. And as she put it, it meant she could pay the light bill. It wasn't about career ambition, it was about basic needs, about being a mom.
The practical realities, sacrificing her own path for her family.
Exactly. But here's the incredible part. Through all of that, the tough jobs, the exhaustion, the stress, she never stopped learning.
Really? How?
She told Kellerman, I didn't stop learning. I borrowed textbooks,
Yeah.
listened to recordings, read newspapers in 5 different tongues just to stay sharp. She kept feeding her mind.
Wow, that's dedication. Not for a grade, not for a job.
No, for herself, to keep that part of her alive. And then she says something really profound. She says, almost whispering, "It's the only thing I do that makes me feel like I still matter."
Oh, wow. That hits deep. That need for self-worth, for purpose, even when nobody else sees it or acknowledges it.
It's so powerful. It makes you think about what truly nourishes our sense of self beyond job titles and paychecks. And her final point to Kellerman in that conversation just nails the core issue. She says, most people never asked. They saw the uniform and assumed.
Assumed. There's that word again.
Yeah. It hangs there. All those years of people seeing the uniform, not the person, not the linguist, not the brilliant mind, just the janitor.
And Kellerman is just taking this all in, silently listening.
Yeah, the source says the weight of her story settling into his chest like a stone. He gets it. He understands she's not complaining or looking for pity.
She even says that, right?
She does. She clarifies. I'm not saying this to make anyone feel bad. I'm not bitter. Life happened. I did what I had to do, which honestly just makes her seem even more impressive.
That resilience, that
Yeah.
dignity, no self-pity at all.
None. And Killerman's thinking first, she was brilliant, obvious talent, but he also gets the practical side. He thinks it's hard to dream when your rent's due.
Right, survival mode versus aspiration, a reality for so many people.
He sees that circumstances, not lack of ability, put her on this path. And that's key, because it shifts his thinking from just being amazed to thinking, what can I do?
Action.
Yes. The source says he immediately jotted down a few lines in his notebook. One idea in particular was already forming.
The wheels are turning. He sees a problem, but maybe also a solution, an opportunity.
Definitely. This isn't just a fascinating story for him anymore. It's becoming a catalyst for change.
So that conversation really stays with him.
All day long, through all the executive stuff, the budgets, the calls, his mind keeps going back to Denise. Her calm voice, the way she just listed those 9 languages.
And he understands the dedication that takes.
Exactly. Years of discipline, curiosity. You can't shake the feeling of waste. Such incredible talent right there. Mopping floors.
It's gnawing at him.
Totally. So late afternoon, around 3:45, he does something completely off script for a CEO.
Okay.
He leaves the fancy 18th floor, gets in the elevator, and goes down. Not to the lobby, but down to the service level.
Down to her world, basically.
Pretty much. It's different down there. Warmer air, smells like cleaning stuff, scuffed walls. The engine room.
Right.
He finds her in the janitorial supply room. She's restocking microfiber cloths, back to him, just doing her job. He walks up, keeps it casual. Mind if I bother you again?
How does she react, seeing the CEO down there?
Startled, definitely surprised. You came down here.
Yeah.
Like, why would he be in the supply closet?
Yeah, fair question.
He smiles, says he couldn't stop thinking about their talk. Then he asks her for a favor.
A favor.
Yeah, he frames it like the company's in a bind. Says the translator for a big meeting with the Sao Paulo office just canceled last minute. Crucial meeting. Could she possibly help out? With Portuguese.
The test. Or maybe the opportunity.
Both, maybe. There's a tiny pause from Denise. That hesitation again.
Understandable.
But then she squares her shoulders. Quiet confidence. Yes, she says. I could do that.
Okay, showtime.
Pretty much. This is where she gets to really show what she can do.
So they go to this meeting, conference room 4C, high-level stuff.
Right? 4 Brazilian executives are already there. And they look awkward, checking their phones. The meeting's clearly not going well.
Stalled. Bad energy.
Exactly. Then Denise walks in. Still in her burgundy uniform, stands out against all the suits.
Must have been a sight.
Imagine. She just nods politely and starts speaking. Smooth, confident Portuguese.
And a reaction.
Immediate. Kellerman watches, fascinated. The whole vibe in the room just shifts. Shoulders relax. People look up, make eye contact, like a switch was flipped.
The power of speaking someone's language. Respect.
Totally. And it wasn't just word-for-word translations, she was bridging the gap, making them feel heard, understood.
That cultural nuance is so key.
Absolutely. There's this great little moment mentioned. One of the Brazilians tells a joke in Portuguese. Denise doesn't just translate it blankly. She laughs, genuinely, then comes back with her own joke.
Oh, nice.
And suddenly they're all chuckling together.
Yeah.
Kellerman doesn't understand the words, but he understands the connection. He sees it happening.
That's the difference, isn't it, between a translator and a true cultural liaison. She's building rapport.
She really is. Facilitating real understanding. not just swapping vocabulary. It's a masterclass in communication.
So the meeting gets back on track.
Big time. Wraps up successfully in just 20 minutes after she stepped in. Problem solved.
Incredible. What do the Brazilians say?
One of the executives turned straight to Kellerman, totally impressed. She's better than anyone we've worked with this year. Where'd you find her?
The $1 million question.
And Kellerman just looks right at Denise, who's already tidying up the coffee cups, and says simply, right here.
Boom. What a moment of validation.
Huge. Publicly acknowledging her value, right then and there.
Does he ask her if she's done this professionally before?
Yeah, afterwards in the hall, she says, no, not really. Just help people out sometimes. Hospitals, government offices, using her skills to help regular folks navigate systems.
Wow. No certificate, no formal training.
Nope. She says she never had time for school, her daughter needed her more. And that leads to this nice little moment.
Oh yeah.
You talk about her daughter for a second. She's 26 now, a nurse, paid for her own schooling. Stubborn like her mama, Denise says with a smile.
Oh, that's lovely. A little glimpse into her life, the source of her strength.
Yeah, it grounds the whole thing. It's not just about languages, it's about resilience, family, sacrifice.
For sure.
Then Denise, ever the professional, clocks back in to finish her cleaning shift. 2 more floors to go.
Back to reality.
But before she goes, she says something typically humble. I didn't do anything special today.
Oh, come on. After saving that meeting.
Kellerman's reaction is perfect. He just raises his eyebrows. That's not how it looked to me. He knows he saw something truly special.
And that night, Kellerman's really processing all this. Sitting in his car.
Yeah, engine off, thinking about the pressure to grow the company, investors, diversity goals, always looking for untapped talent.
Spending fortunes on external recruiters, probably.
Exactly, looking everywhere outside the company. And then it hits him like a revelation.
What?
All this time, he thinks, we've been looking outside. But sometimes the gold's already in your backyard.
The hidden gems within the organization.
Precisely. It's a huge shift, realizing that amazing talent, deep knowledge, incredible potential might already be there, just overlooked, often in roles you wouldn't expect.
That's a massive strategic insight, actually. Cheaper, builds loyalty, leverages existing knowledge.
Right. It's not just feel good, it's smart business. And once he has that realization, the next question is obvious.
What am I going to do about it?
Exactly. He's past just noticing. He's ready for action. Real meaningful action.
So the next day, things start changing. Physically.
Yep. Denise is doing her morning cleaning routine, East Lobby. Her badge beeps at an odd time. It's her supervisor, Ron.
Uh-oh. Or good.
Ron looks kind of awestruck. Tells her Kellerman wants to see her again. Denise immediately worries, did I do something wrong?
That built-in reflex again.
But Ron says no. Kellerman just said send her up. So she heads towards the elevators again.
And this time it feels different.
Totally different. The source says everyone in the building seemed to notice her. People look up, they whisper. The receptionist gives her this knowing smile.
Word travels fast in an office.
Like lightning. The perception of her is already shifting, even before anything official happens. Which raises the question, right? What does this mean for her? And what does it mean for how companies even think about talent?
Okay, so she gets to Kellerman's office again. What's the vibe?
Kellerman's waiting. He doesn't beat around the bush. He starts talking about talent waste, about how many good people get overlooked just because nobody looks twice.
Setting the stage.
Exactly. Then he lays it out, his big idea. A brand new position, something the company needs but didn't know it. Cultural liaison for international affairs.
Wow. Creating a role specifically for her skill set.
Precisely. Someone who can handle all the global stuff, languages, cultural nuances, visitors, documents the things they are struggling with. And he looks right at her and says, you're qualified? Probably more than most people on our leadership team, honestly.
Whoa. That's a statement.
Huge statement. He's not trying to fit her into an existing box. He's building the box around her unique talents. That's pretty forward thinking.
Absolutely. How does Denise react to that?
Pure shock. Speechless at first. Her first words are practical, almost disbelieving. Is this real? And then the big one. But I don't have a college degree.
The credential barrier, the thing that holds so many people back.
But Kellerman just brushes it aside, powerfully. You have something better, he says. Lived experience, commitment, fluency in 9 languages. You think I care about a piece of paper.
Good for him. Focusing on actual ability, not just formalities.
Then she asks, why me? Still trying to process it. And his answer is spot on. because I watched you solve 3 problems in 3 languages before 9 a.m. yesterday, and because I'm tired of walking past people like you, doing twice the work for half the credit.
He's making it clear it's about her merit, her proven skill, not charity.
Exactly. But Denise still has practical worries. Never had an office job, no corporate clothes.
The logistics of such a big change.
Kellerman's ready. You'll learn fast, he says. HR will send a clothing stipend. He removes every obstacle. She even asks about her old cleaning shift, who will replace her.
Still thinking responsibly about her old role.
Yeah. Kellerman says they'll find someone, but no one can replace you, not for a long time, showing respect for her past work, too.
Nice touch.
Her last question is hesitant, maybe the most vulnerable one. Are you sure this isn't some kind of favor?
After a lifetime of being overlooked, you can understand that question.
Kellerman's firm. This is overdue recognition, Denise, overdue. And then they shake hands. The source calls it history being rewritten.
It really feels like it. A symbolic moment for her and maybe for the whole company.
Definitely. But not everyone's going to cheer when history gets rewritten like that.
Ah, yes. The resistance. You knew it was coming.
By Wednesday morning, the news is everywhere. Denise Atwater, the janitor, is the new cultural liaison for international affairs. Executive level.
The gossip mill must be working overtime.
Oh yeah. Whispers about her languages, the CEO's involvement, crazy theories about a secret past. Anything to make sense of it.
Because it disrupts the expected order of things.
Exactly. And while some people are genuinely happy for her, or at least curious, others, not so much. The resentment is real.
Where does it surface?
The source mentions the staff lounge chatter. A marketing assistant complaining, I have a master's in international business. Been waiting 2 years for a promotion. This lady was scrubbing urinals last week.
Ouch. That sense of unfairness, even if it's based on flawed assumptions about merit.
Yeah, and her friend tries to rationalize it. Maybe she knows something. But the first one dismisses it. It's Kellerman trying to look progressive, checking a box.
Undermining her achievement, attributing it to optics rather than competence, that happens a lot when unconventional hires are made.
It really highlights that discomfort, that resistance to seeing brilliance when it doesn't fit the mold we expect. Why is that, do you think? Why does unexpected talent make some people so uneasy?
It challenges their worldview, their sense of hierarchy, maybe even their own sense of security or accomplishment. If someone without the right background can leapfrog, what does that say about the system they've been playing by? It can feel threatening.
Denise feels that chill in the air when she walks into her new, modest office on the 12th floor. Feels like another planet. And she does something interesting. After HR leaves, she asks to keep her old uniform, not to wear it just as a reminder.
Wow. Grounding herself, remembering the journey, that's powerful.
Isn't it? Then she has her first meeting with Victor, head of international operations. Senior guy.
Okay, how does that go?
He walks in, eyes tight, doesn't shake her hand. Opens with, so you're the new liaison. Kinda condescending.
Testing her.
Totally. Denise is calm though, that's what I'm told. When he brings up her lack of corporate experience, she has a great comeback. Only from the outside looking in, sir. For 13 years.
Ooh, nice. Subtle but sharp.
And when he throws jargon at her, tries to overwhelm her, she just says, I'll need a few hours to review, but yes, I can handle that.
Calmly stating her capability.
Not backing down. Good for her.
Later that evening, Kellerman stops by her new office. Denise asks him straight up, why now? Why me? You could have just given me a bonus.
Still grappling with the why.
And Kellerman reveals something personal. Because I saw myself in you, Denise. He talks about his own background, working class, feeling like an outsider in corporate rooms.
Wow. Shared vulnerability, that explains the depth of his conviction.
Exactly. It wasn't just about finding talent. It was about opening doors he felt had been closed to people like him, like her.
That's a powerful motivator. Denise admits she's nervous, but adds, good means you care. She knows it's a huge leap. And about the negativity. There's going to be people who hate this, they'll get over it, or they won't. Either way, we're moving forward.
Wow. Quiet strength. Focused on the work, not the noise.
Totally. And her last act. She puts her old janitor badge in her desk drawer next to the new one. Not to forget, she thinks. To remember exactly what it took to get here.
What a symbol. Okay, so she's in the role. How does she actually perform? Does she prove the doubters wrong?
Oh, absolutely. Kellerman's company-wide email announcing her role made it clear. This wasn't charity. She was the best person for the job, period. and she delivers.
How so?
She handles foreign clients with a nuance the translation software could never match. She tries finding errors, actual costly mistranslations in old contracts that no one else had caught.
Adding real value, saving the company money.
Exactly. Quietly, efficiently, just getting the job done. Better than anyone expected. Her results become the best answer to any criticism.
Actions speak louder than whispers.
Definitely. There's this great example with a Moroccan delegation. The company's expansion into North Africa was stalled. Bad communication, mistrust.
Tricky situation.
Denise walks in, introduces herself in fluent Moroccan Arabic. The whole atmosphere changes instantly. People lean in, they listen differently. Because, like the source says, when someone speaks your language, you don't just hear words, you hear respect.
That is so true. It builds an immediate bridge.
It really does. Afterwards, one of the Moroccan partners comes up to her, very moved, touches his chest, that traditional sign of gratitude, and says, "No one's ever done that for us. Not in our language. Not like that."
Wow. Making a real human connection.
And Denise's reply is just perfect. Simple. Profound. She just says, "You matter."
Oh man. That's it, isn't it? It's about dignity, validation, respect, beyond just business.
That's her impact. It's about recognizing the humanity in global business.
Yeah.
And Kellerman sees this. He understands the power of what she's doing.
So he reinforces it somehow.
Yeah. But quietly. Yeah. Symbolically. He renames the main company training room, the place where everyone goes for development, workshops,
What does he name it?
the Atwater room. No big fuss, no party, just a new sign on the door. A quiet, permanent acknowledgement.
That's huge, though, embedding her story into the fabric of the company's future.
Exactly. It sends a message, and people get it. A senior manager tells some interns outside that room, she's someone who reminded this place that greatness doesn't always come in a suit.
Changing the narrative.
And then Denise finds this anonymous note on her desk. "I used to think I'd be invisible forever, but today I stood a little taller because of you. Thank you."
Oh, wow. Proof that her story is inspiring others who feel unseen. That ripple effect is real.
It really makes you think, how can organizations create more of this? More environments where people feel seen, where recognition isn't some rare event.
That's the million-dollar question for leadership, isn't it? Fostering that culture intentionally. But the old guard doesn't always go down easy.
Nope. Enter Eleanor Craig, senior board member from Dallas. Sharp suit, sharper tongue. Yeah, believes in credentials, the old way.
The final boss battle, maybe.
Feels like it. Eleanor calls Denise in. Gets straight to the point, tone dripping with skepticism. No college degree, no corporate training, no management certifications. Correct.
Laying out the deficiencies.
Denise just looks her in the eye. Calm.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Eleanor pushes. Help me understand how someone with your background, basically challenging her right to be there.
How does Denise handle that direct challenge?
With facts, pure results. Because I speak the languages, Mrs. Craig. I understand the cultures, I fixed contracts, cleared delays, secured agreements. She lists her accomplishments.
Letting the work speak for itself.
When Eleanor scoffs about running the company on instinct and charm, Denise comes back strong. No, ma'am, I think it should be run on results. And I deliver results.
Undeniable. What can Eleanor even say to that? Eleanor actually hesitates, maybe thrown off by Denise's directness and confidence. Denise presses her advantage calmly. "I don't need to be liked, Miss Craig, but I do need to be useful, and I am."
Standing her ground, defining her own value.
Eleanor's final shot is a judgment. "You're a gamble, Miss Atwater."
Ooh, dismissive.
But Denise's reply is legendary, drawing on everything she's been through. "I'm used to that, Miss Craig. My entire life's been one."
Mic drop, seriously. Just owning her journey, her resilience. Unshakable.
Exactly. Word about that meeting spreads like wildfire. How Denise stood up to Eleanor Craig didn't flinch. It solidifies her place.
Respect earned the hard way.
Yeah. That same day, someone writes on the whiteboard outside her office, just, "We see you." Anonymous support.
That must have meant so much.
You bet. And then something else starts happening. People start coming to her. Not just for translations, but for advice, guidance, confidence boosts.
She becomes a mentor, naturally.
Totally. Helping interns, giving tips. Someone asks her how she learned all those languages. Her answer, one word at a time, same way you will. Practical, empowering.
It's just sharing her wisdom, paying it forward.
This organic mentoring, her whole impact, sparks another idea from Kellerman. The Voice Inside Initiative.
What's that?
A program to find and develop internal talent, especially people in non-desk roles. offering language training, mentoring, visibility. Denise's idea, really. Kellerman runs with it, realizing there's probably more Denises in this building.
Systematizing the discovery of hidden talent. That's huge.
It is. Eventually, Denise gets invited to speak at this big logistics leadership summit. Industry leaders, everyone's there.
Wow, from the service level to the main stage.
Incredible journey. And she doesn't just tell a feel-good story, she challenges them. I was never just a janitor, she says. I was fluent, I was capable, I was ready, but nobody looked long enough to see it.
Powerful truth, holding up a mirror to the leaders in the room.
Her challenge is direct. The next time you pass someone without a fancy title, someone in a uniform, ask yourself, what are you really missing?
Wow, what's the reaction?
Standing ovation. Thunderous. Later, a young man comes up crying. His mom's a housekeeper, speaks 5 languages, and he used to be ashamed.
Oh, man.
Denise looks him right in the eye. Don't ever be ashamed of where you come from, she tells him. The only thing to be ashamed of is staying blind to brilliance.
What a message. That's the legacy, isn't it? Opening eyes, changing perspectives.
That really is the core insight from her whole journey, isn't it?
Right.
Never ever assume someone's worth based on the surface stuff, the job, the clothes, the resume.
Absolutely. Her story is just such a powerful case for looking deeper, challenging those automatic judgments we make, and actively searching for talent everywhere, seeing the whole person, not just the role.
Yeah. And the truth we really take away from this deep dive is pretty profound. Talent doesn't wear a uniform. Intelligence doesn't need a diploma to be real. Brilliance can walk right past you, holding a mop.
It really makes you turn the question on yourself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliance are you overlooking in your daily life, on your team, in your company?
Or even, and this is maybe the toughest one, what brilliance are you overlooking in yourself? Have you let assumptions limit your own potential?
And, if you've ever felt like Denise, overlooked, underestimated, invisible, her story is such a testament to keep going. Keep honing your skills. Keep believing in your worth.
Because someone might see you?
The right person, the right leader, will see you. And when that happens, when that door finally opens, don't just take your seat at the table, bring a few more chairs with you. There are always more hidden talents waiting for their chance.